y'all, and welcome back to another video of My Creative Life with Kel Sweetie, where we make art, we read books, and during a certain time of year, we start to Halloween decorate. Today is episode 2 of this crafting series of all of our Halloween decor that we've been crafting up before we decorate. And today we're covering fake food. Which I never thought I would be crafting, but here we are. We're going to be covering fake cookies as well as fake oversized popcorn. I have a Monster Mash movie area this year where fake popcorn made sense, and I also have a 90s Halloween party area where fake cookies made sense. Today's gonna be very interesting. Some of this turned out exactly how I thought it would, and some of it we had to diverge and do something different. So it should be an interesting one, but let's get into it. So, like I said, I never thought I'd be sitting here doing a video about crafting fake food, but here we are. There was a lot of research that kind of went into this, and I really love how they turned out. I think my biggest thing, especially for the cookies, is figuring out how to display them so that they really shine. These fake popcorn aren't gonna necessarily have that hard of a time shining on my credenza, but I really can't wait to show y'all how I made these. Honestly, as far as the popcorn is concerned, it was so easy. Probably the easiest craft that I did, even probably easier than the repainting of my figures that I just put out. The cookies maybe didn't go as planned, and I still inserted that footage of me failing just because I think that it's important, especially on YouTube and social media, to still show when crafting ideas don't exactly go as planned. I think that a lot of people think that a lot of people on YouTube don't make mistakes, and I think we need to not do that. I do recommend possibly doing maybe foam clay, but let's get into the videos of me working through making both of these things, and we'll talk a bit more about it in our outro. So to start off this project, I'm showing what colors you need, which you can buy them from Michael's straight out of the tube. These colors are basically exact matches for the Pillsbury cut and bake things. This here is going to come in handy if you decide to do it this way, which is the actual traditional way of putting patterns in your slice and bake cookies. You have to break it down and map it out into layers. I do not end up doing this because I end up making a huge mistake in how I try to go about doing this, but I thought I would leave it in here just to show you guys that I fail as well. If you look in that top right corner, that is clay that I have tried using nearly a quarter of the bottle to dye purple. I literally had to take half of the clay that I was using before and try and break it down even smaller because it would not dye. See right here? Oh my god, that's so much orange. That's going to be so bright. No, that's how it ends up looking. I got so frustrated. I really recommend you do not use air dry clay and you use foam clay for this if you decide to go about it the more traditional way of making a pattern, because the air dry clay just does not take the paint whatsoever. I think it just dries it all up. Right here, I start to try and put that pattern together, like I mentioned before on how to traditionally put a pattern in a slice and bake cookie. Mistakes were made. Here, I'm rolling it. Don't roll it. Roll it out into sheets and then cut those sheets according to the size you need for that layer. One, because you're gonna have all these gaps in your clay where you've been rolling them. 2, all of that paint that you use to try and dye your air dry clay is going to ruin the integrity of the clay. And this is probably going to be true for even your foam clay as well. The more paint you use, the more it's going to break down the integrity of the clay. So rolling it out kept on being hard because the clay would just break apart, especially that purple clay where I used so much paint trying to get it that color. This is what I came up with. What a fail! What a fail! Okay, we tried again. We just made some cookie looking disc out of that air dry clay. Here, I have one that has like a little bite in it. I did not make that bite, I just carved that out. I've had a lot of people ask me who've seen this cookie, did you bite the clay? No, why would I bite the clay? Like, come on now. So here I'm mixing up what is a off-white. I don't have, the ivory that I had was too yellow, and I needed something that was white, a baked white. I know that may not make a lot of sense, and you seeing me paint this onto the clay, you're like, Kelsey, that's the exact same color. Haha, it's not, because if you see right here, it's just slightly whiter. And I needed it to be that underbaked cookie dough color that Pillsbury Slice and Bakes and those cookies from Kroger that usually look like. Here, I finally bit the bullet and I just painted on the designs. I'm not trying to impress anybody here. I'm gonna see this up on top of a bookshelf. I just need it to look a certain way. Now, I started in on the orange, and again, I have to say this. I said this in my repaint video, and it's just as important here. Layers are your friend. Always just do layers. That purple, in order for it to look smooth enough and consistent in color and dark enough, that is 3 layers of paint. 3 is the magic number when it comes to painting with craft paint and everything. Here, I think the green I didn't really need to do much because it was just a dot, but even then I think I did 2 just to be safe. The orange, 3 or 4 layers I think went into that in order for it to get dark enough. And these are those Pillsbury Slice and Bakes. This doesn't need to look clean. I mean, how many pumpkins have you received in those packages that look a little wonky? So this is how they turned out. I'm happy with them. The point is getting across. Let's get into the bakery, the grocery store bakery cookies now. I picked up whipped clay because I was already at Michael's. Just get some spackle from your local depot, your local Lowe's or Home Depot or whatever. That's basically what this is. I mean, if you're trying to go for like maybe a fake cake situation and you're just trying it on for size and you don't want to buy like all the tips and everything, this may be a good option for you to do because it was really cheap and it came with tips and it was already in a bag. But economically, money-wise, this whipped clay was $6. A whole tub of spackle would have been $6. All right. And by the way, if anybody's asking about prices and everything, the whipped clay was $6. The air dry clay, that huge tub of air dry clay, I got from the kids section at Michael's, and that was $10. And as I've stated before, the craft paint at Michael's right now is like 69 cents. So this is a really, really cheap project for you to try out. I'm not certain how much the foam clay would be, but I'm sure it wouldn't be that much more. Here, I'm going to use the soft pastels to make, you see that little ring around the sides of it? That's where it's been cooking, and I'd brush that on. Okay, we are making some fake popcorn. This is the easiest craft ever. I'm going to use that big gap filler. You're going to get that at Home Depot. You use it in it's probably going to be in an end cap, but you use it usually around plumbing and everything. You're just going to spray some dollops. Just spray in dollops. There's no rhyme or reason to this. Some of them are going to be smaller, some of them are going to be bigger. Don't worry too much about all those ridges because they're going to look like this. They're going to look like this when they expand. So all those ridges are going to smooth out and they're going to look like dollops. And you're going to be like, how is this going to be popcorn? Don't worry. You're going to put 3 of these together and then you're going to connect those 3 with another dollop. I was too small on the dollop here, so I put in a second dollop, which doesn't matter because this is popcorn and it's just puffing. Again, this is going to look weird at first. You're going to be like, how is this going to be popcorn? But I promise you it's going to work out. Just trust the process on this. Also, get enough cans of this big gap filler. And you want to make sure it's the super gap filler stuff too. Don't get the small can. This is how they turn out before you spray paint them. This spray paint is going to take them into popcorn territory. Butter your popcorn. This is butternut squash. That's the color here. You just need a buttery, whatever brand will work. You don't have to even use the brand that I got. Just get a buttery yellow color for your butter on your popcorn. This here, I didn't show it as well as I hoped, but that's just an espresso brown color. You're going to spray the seed on the inside. Easiest thing in the world. As I said, the popcorn craft was so easy. It literally was just a waiting game. And then once these expanded to their full size and everything, all I needed to do was just hit them with a little bit of spray paint. And it's not even getting full coverage. I still have plenty of spray paint left. I don't know what I'm going to use butter yellow and espresso brown for, but I have them if it's necessary. Maybe a sunflower, I don't know. But this was probably the easiest craft ever. I just got very, very lucky with the fact that there was a killer clown resurgence recently, and so seeing other creators make their videos on Instagram and stuff, I found out how to do something like this, and it's the easiest thing in the world. I could definitely see this being used as well for Christmas. I think that's where I first kind of started seeing this kind of come up, was during Christmas when people wanted to do oversized popcorn strands. I could see this being used for Christmas. I don't think for me it may not, but who knows? Year after year, my themes change, my style changes. Who knows? Maybe eventually I'll do a killer clowns thing and it won't just be for a movie thing. But this honestly was the easiest craft ever. And especially, from far away, I think that it's strange because if you think too hard about it, you're like, okay, that's just foam. But also from far away, you're just kind of like, yeah, that's definitely how popcorn looks. It's awkward. It's weird. Now, the cookies, like I said, didn't go to plan. I would recommend that if you try to do it the way that I did it, which was like a traditional cookie, like how you put a picture in a cookie, which shout out to any baker out there who's put images in their cookies and like building it from scratch. You guys are the MVPs because that was so hard. I think if I could do it again, I think it's possible. I think with the time that I had, I kind of said, forget it. We're going to paint it. It's from far away anyways. You know, I'm not selling these, but I could see, one, I wouldn't do like strands. I would do layers. So kind of like roll them out and then cut them to size and build them up that way. One, because it'd be more stable. And two, they wouldn't be likely to like crack like they were doing for me and getting really messy. Because I got close. I feel like the idea was there. The execution wasn't. And also, with rolling it, you got a lot of air pockets in the design. So I think I would definitely do it that way, where I would roll out the colors and then block them, like building them. That's one. Two, I wouldn't use air dry clay. I would use foam clay. That foam clay that you can get. One, I think that foam clay would be a lot easier to color. As you guys saw, I used nearly more than half a bottle of my craft paint trying to get the purple as dark as the Pillsbury slice and bake cookies are. And I still couldn't, you see that, I would have been coloring all day. It was just ridiculous trying to get it that color, and I didn't even try very hard with the green because I knew I couldn't get the green as dark as that color as well. And I think that has to do with the air dry clay just sucking the moisture out of the the acrylic paint. So I think I would try this again, but I would use foam clay and then the blocky and everything. But as far as how they ended up in the end with me just painting them, I'm still happy with them. They're going to be up on a bookcase and from far away, so I'm not really too worried about how realistic they look, because from far away they're going to look pretty, it's going to get the point across. I think using that what's it called, soft pastels on the edges to make it look like it's been cooked, super smart. And I'd seen that around, and I definitely think brushing that on there helped a lot in making them look like, you know, cooked cookies. I think that's something definitely to take to when you're going to do them, even with the foam clay and everything. I think still using that soft pastel, it seems like a step you can skip because it seems inconsequential, but in all honesty, it's the icing on top that kind of makes it look like, oh, that's a cookie. Using even, like, I kind of got creative with this one and made it look like a bite was taken out of it. I think adding that to the group also helps. I think even one thing that I liked about the air dry clay was that when it dried, you know, as we found out in my repainting video, the air dry clay shrinks, and so it causes these cracks. But I like the cracks because when you put your Pillsbury slice and bakes in the oven and then they cool down, they also crack. So I think that the cracking actually still came to like advantage as far as these were concerned, and I'm happy with them. As far as the cookies that look like they're like from Kroger, like the ones that you buy in like the bakery section, I'm so happy with these. Oh, I could make these all day, and they're the easiest thing in the world. If this project was too hard for you, or you're like, oh, I could never paint that, it couldn't turn out right, or whatever, this is it. This is the look. And again, I would say use that foam clay because you're going to get an even puffier, fluffier looking cookie dough look, like how those cookies look. But even with this air dry clay, it still turned out really great. They look, I didn't use the soft pastels on those because of the fact that they always look underdone. It's kind of the whole idea behind those cookies. But the whipped clay that I ended up using, that was it. All I did was color it, and it took nothing to color it. And they look exactly, I mean, I know that it's super simple, but it's kind of like the popcorn. Some things are just simplistic in how they look, and so these, I think, look exactly like those cookies, especially from far away. They're gonna sit there and be great. I think the only thing that I would do differently is maybe get some Halloween sprinkles and just sprinkle those on top, and it would have been absolutely perfect. So that's just a little note for if you want to try and do this. I think doing some sprinkles on top is going to sell it even more, but I think these are perfect. And another note I would say is don't get the whipped clay. I got the whipped clay because I was already at Michael's. I recommend you just go to your Home Depot and get spackle. Especially if you see yourself doing something like this for Christmas or any other holiday. I recommend going to Home Depot and getting a tub of spackle. It's the same thing. That's what whipped clay is. So I ended up paying for the little baggies, which I'm not necessarily mad at because they came with tips, but you could also just buy your own cheap tips and, you know, do your own bag and everything. There's way cheaper ways to do it that are more economical, and you'll get more whipped clay out of it and stuff. But that's if you want to keep on doing this a lot. I don't see myself doing this a ton, although I really loved how this turned out. Getting the whipped clay is what really did it. It'll be cheaper if you just get the spackle. All in all, I'm really happy with all of these crafts. These were so easy, and I think they're going to look really great in my movie area and my Halloween party area. I still have to figure out how I'm going to place these, but I think these are going to look so noticeable and nice on my credenza amongst like my popcorn boxes and stuff. that this was super easy and it's gonna make a huge impact. So I can't wait to hear like if you guys have tried this before, or if you all are planning on doing either one of these crafts for your Halloween or even Christmas decorations this year. I didn't do an emoji or a question for the last the last video. So for today's video, I'd love to know, if you got to the end of today's video, I would love to know what was your favorite snack from your Halloween parties back in the day. Like, I would love to know that. For me, I know I'm weird, I could eat a couple of these back when I was a kid. Like now, these start to hurt my teeth after about 1 or 2, but I love those. There's something about it being underbaked, and I'm a huge icing person, that I would eat a ton of those. Horrible, I know, but absolutely love them. So I would love to know if I'm alone with that, or if y'all had another snack from like your Halloween parties back in the day that were just great. You would just like eat the whole thing. Please subscribe down below if you like today's video. I would love to have you guys come along for the rest of the videos in this series. If you don't know what we're doing, please go check out my first video in this series. I've already posted it, and it will be located in a playlist of some kind. Either probably both my Halloween playlist and my crafting playlist. So you can go check it out over there. It should be just the last video since this one. So you can go check that out to figure out what we're actually doing here. There's a ton of more crafts coming. I'm super excited to put these up for my decorations this year. So keep on following. The next video will be my marquee sign, which is super exciting because I can't believe how good it turned out. Like, I can't wait to show y'all. I'm very much proud that I made this. So I can't wait to show y'all. If y'all want to check that out, make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss it. And I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.